Be blessed by the divine. Dear friends, I have a special guest today in our show wanting to discuss about various topics and especially wanting to ask me questions related to Brahmacharya. I'm sure many of you are interested in listening to this. Welcome to the show, Professor Ranjani.
Be blessed by the divine. Pranams to the divine and pranams to our Guru Vedatri Maharishi. I'm Ranjani Ramamurthy from Chennai. For the past 7 years, I'm doing service along with my husband in our mandram. He is also an assistant professor.
Wonderful. Welcome to the show. Start shooting your questions, ma'am. Let's see if I can answer them.
Sir, the first question is, what is the meaning of Brahmacharya?
Sure, I'll tell you what I know a little about this. Brahmacharya is essentially disciplining one's activities, therefore disciplining one's mind in such a way that the sexual vital fluid in the body is not excreted indiscriminately and in a way which can be termed as immoral or unethical or indisciplined or in a uncontrollable fashion. That really means that one needs to discipline one's mind to preserve, protect, and recirculate the vital fluid to the cerebrospinal area. Practices such as the Kayakalpa Yoga will help us to recirculate the vital fluid to the cerebrospinal area. The vital fluid is common for both men and women, and therefore Brahmacharya Vrita is common for both men and women, and disciplining and following a virtuous way of life is also common for both men and women. But it's not easy to follow this. It's difficult because practices needed to come in the genes. The parents should have practiced this Kayakalpa Yoga, should have had a great desire to want to be a Brahmachari. Then the seed of that desire is passed on to the child. The child will naturally grow up to want to be a celibate human being. And that he must start, that desire, he must start fulfilling at a very young age, preferably at the age of around 14 or so. He must learn Kayakalpa Yoga and meditation and exercises and introspection and associated disciplines with respect to maintaining discipline in one's own mind, not watching unnecessary movies or television programs or reading unnecessary books, not falling prey to emotional state of mind, remaining calm and not spending too much time privately with a woman or with the opposite sex that could trigger such emotional states of mind. These are all some of the practices that were taught to young children in India. Especially in south of India, you would see the Brahmacharya age of 14 to say 13 to around 20, where these practices were taught and people are asked to maintain celibacy so that it will prepare a platform for them to live life youthfully, live without falling ill and live long.
Beautifully explained, sir. Thank you. The second question. Ancient days, in Gurukula education, how they insisted and how they implemented Brahmacharya?
It was easy in the past. See, in the past, there were less sensual intoxication. There were no media involved in the past. There was no television until about 1960s or so, 1970s or so in India. So no internet, no computer, no mobile phone. There were only books. If you really wanted to meet someone, you had to actually take effort to go and meet someone. In a Gurukula Vasa, in a hermitage sort of an environment, when men and women are separated. Usually you will have women hermitages separately, men hermitages, boys hermitages separately. It's like boys hostel, gents hostel. I studied in a boys hostel environment in my college. It was a boys only college. My school was a boys only school. You will hardly find such schools nowadays. Most of the schools are co-education schools. Most of the colleges are co-education colleges today. And in the olden days, most of the Gurukula Vasas were meant for only men or meant for only women. In fact, women hermitages are far and few, not many. So only men hermitages, boy hermitages, male only hermitages were available all over the world, all over the country, in fact. So it was easy because you don't have stimulants from outside. You're not going to see a woman, you're not going to read any book, you're not going to watch any TV, you're not going to watch any movies, you're not going to listen to any songs. There's no sensual excitement that is there. And there was a guru, and the guru usually is old enough and he has already achieved his state of celibate mind, a disciplined mind. So it was easy for one to look up to him and emulate his behavior. But much later, when all these systems started developing in the modern era, this kind of a Gurukula environment has lost. And today, I'm not sure if there are very many Gurukula environments in the country or in the world. You have to create your own environment within the house, maybe within your own environment. I know one such person in Neyveli, who has created within his house an environment for himself to remain celibate. He has never gotten married. He is a Brahmachari, and I've never seen him talking to a woman. I've never seen him spending time with a woman all alone. I've never seen him WhatsApp. In fact, he's not even on WhatsApp. I have to call him and speak to him. And half the time his phone is there in the house. He goes to the office during the day. He comes back very late, and when he comes back, he's meditating. So you can see how disciplined he is and how he has created his own environment for him to. He's a disciple of our Swamiji. He follows, he's a professor in our system also. He's a person one could look up to as an example of how one should follow Brahmacharya Vrata in modern days.
Okay. So, Indriya Nigraha and about no sophistication at all, no? They sleep in the floor and all, no? Those days in Gurukula students, no sophistication and no Indriya Nigraha, sense control. Okay.
That's right. That's right. It was easy. In fact, I try to sleep on the floor as much as possible, and we don't have a bed in our house, and I don't even have a bedroom. So my wife and I sleep on the floor. But you can't say that I have followed Brahmacharya Vrata because I'm married and I have 3 children. So this is what I have learned from Swamiji and what I have learned from various other Brahmacharis who I've been associated with. My own brother, not our own brother, but my aunt's first son, my cousin, was a Brahmachari all his life. Okay. He had certain practices, not our meditation practices. Mahapariva from Kanjipuram, he spent time with Mahapariva in his Gurukulam. So he taught him certain Brahmacharya methods, and Mahapariva, the Kanji Mahapariva, the Shankaracharya, was a great and inspiring Brahmachari himself. And he learned it through him, those practices. So it is easy. So you have to sleep on the floor. You should not go into the same room that a woman is there. You should not touch the cloth of a woman. So there are, all these they may sound very strange and bizarre today, weird today. But once your mind is set on becoming a Brahmachari, these are things that you will naturally gravitate towards as practices, but difficult. Today in modern life, this is very difficult. But in the olden days, it was very easy.
In the time of Agnya initiation, Maharishi insists about Brahmacharya till Shanti Diksha. What is the purpose of it?
Good question. The first 5 days to 7 days of Agnya initiation, of the third eye awakening in Kundalini meditation in our Sky Yoga method, it is necessary to preserve the container of the Kundalini Shakti, which is your sexual vital fluid. If the sexual vital fluid is indiscriminately wasted during that period, the life energy will drain itself indiscriminately, which could interfere with your meditative process. You may not be able to feel your life force pulsating at the Agnya Chakra. Let me give you an example. It's a real life example, experience that I have seen someone suffer through. There was a cypress born individual, a French citizen, Cyprus settled. He came to one of the meditation programs in an ashram in which I taught for about 2 days. And that program was for 7 days. And he came and he spent time there. And after I finished my speeches for 2 days, I was about to leave and he said, "Sir, I want to meet you." And then he came and met me. And he confessed that he was unable to feel the life force pulsating. And this is a place where hundreds and thousands of people meditate on a daily basis. So it's not possible for someone not to feel the life force pulsating in an environment like that. So I said, "Please come." I had a small office and I said, "Please come and meet me in my office." And I went there and met him, made him sit down and say, "Explain, tell me, what is wrong? Why are you not able to feel the life force? You have some of the best teachers to teach you here. You have a meditating environment. You have come all the way from France to attend this. Why are you not able to feel the life force?" "Sir, I got initiated. For the first few seconds, I felt something, and then after that, it stopped." I said, "Why? Why? What is the problem?" Then he confessed, "Sir, it's been about 3-4 days since I came here, and every night I'm suffering, sir." "What are you suffering for?" "I have some delusions, I have insomnia, I have depression, and because of which I have to masturbate every night. And then only I have to become tired in my body. Then only I feel exhausted, I can go to sleep." So sad. I felt so sad for this boy. And I said, "Sir, this is not a place where you can cure these problems. You need to go to a doctor because he has depression problems. He has some kind of obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD problem. He is suffering from certain obsessive habits that requires counseling. Perhaps he's suffering from insomnia. That means he may require some kind of a sleeping tablet. Some kind of antidepressant therapy is required for him." So I'm not an expert in this. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist for anyone to be treated by me. So I requested him, "So please, you will not be able to feel the life force if you're going to waste your vital energy every day like this. So please consult a doctor and go to a doctor and change your diet and follow strict methods of recovering from this deep depression and addiction that you have got. And then only you will be able to feel the life force awakened." In fact, the professors who initiated him on the day, they felt very depressed. They felt depressed. They said, "Sir, 3 days we have been initiating every day, sir. Every day he's coming and complaining to me. He's not able to feel the Kundalini Shakti." So I said, "Sir, even if you try for another 3 years also, he will not feel it because he's got a plug open somewhere else. So whatever energy, strength you are giving him, he's draining every night. So there's no way he's going to feel the life force." It's very sad, but these are very strange and extreme cases. And we have seen such people unable to feel the life force. And this is the reason why Swamiji has made it as a strict rule that for the first 5 to 7 days, till your Shanti is given to you, you should not waste your sexual vital fluid from your body. That means no indulgence in any kind of sexual act.
Have to maintain biomagnetism. That's why.
No, true. But so biomagnetism is a byproduct, is a product of the life force itself. The container for the life force energy particle is the vital fluid. So if the vital fluid is drained, life force energy gets drained. If life force energy gets drained, then the biomagnetism gets depleted. Biomagnetism is what you feel as a result of good amount of life energy within the body, which is a result of goodness of vital fluid in the body. The vital fluid is not there, then there's no question of us discussing about biomagnetism at all. That comes a little later.
The third question is about Kayakalpa. How Kayakalpa is connected with Brahmacharya, but I think you have already told about this, I think. How Kayakalpa Yoga is connected with Brahmacharya. That's the fourth
Kaya
question.
is body, Kalpa is immortality. Kaya Kalpa Yoga has two practices, Ashwini Mudra and Ojo's breathing. So through Ashwini Mudra, we apply centrifugal and centripetal force, both forces. As you compress your perineal muscle, which is the pelvic floor muscle, that's the correct muscle to compress and relax. Anus muscle is what we typically teach people, but it is the anus and the what you call the Swadhisthana muscle, which you need to compress together, which will then compress and relax the perineal muscle, the pelvic floor muscle, above which is the the reproductive gland, or for the men it is the prostrate gland. The prostrate gland, around which has got a seminal sac. The seminal sac contains the sexual vital fluid, and this fluid is secreted according to our guru Yogiraj Vedatri Maharishi in the marrow. Marrow is all over the body, but brain is filled with marrow. Brain is full of marrow. So therefore, it is contained in maximum quantity in the brain, and from there, when the age of maturity happens, it descends. And that particular time, not only it descends during that time, when you are emotionally disturbed, it will descend. When you are sexually aroused, it will descend. On certain other habitual conditions, it may descend. When you are stimulated through your sensory organs, it could descend. So there are various reasons why it could descend. And when it descends, there is an urge to evacuate that excess fluid which is gathered in the seminal sac in the prostate gland, and that urge is called as the sexual urge. So through Ashwini Mudra, we apply centrifugal and centripetal force on that particular sac and around the prostate area, which separates the vital fluid from the non-vital portion of the seminal fluid. And through Ojo's breathing, we imagine a straw-like path that connects the sexual glands all the way up to the cerebrospinal area. And we use a simple breathing pressure technique, which then allows this energy to be sucked up and redrawn and recirculated, or what we call transmuted, into the spiritual energy in the cerebrospinal area. And from there, we circulate it throughout the body so that the body remains healthy and happy, and it remains young and energetic and youthful and disease-free and healthy and live long. But this process of Ashwini Mudra and Ojo's breathing together enables one to not waste the vital fluid that has descended, but recirculate it back into the cerebrospinal area so that you don't feel the urge to evacuate it anymore. And therefore, and this is an extraordinary gift, a lovely gift for anybody who wants to practice Brahmacharya.
How can we proceed Brahmacharya discipline in the modern world, in school and colleges? How can we read, and how can we...
Beautiful question. In fact, this
about Brahmacharya.
Beautiful question. In fact, the whole practice must begin at the schools around the age of 14, 15. These practices must be made available to every school children. And they must be presented. The topic of sexual discipline, the topic of Kayakalpa Yoga, the need to preserve one's sexual vital fluid, and the purpose of doing that and the benefits of doing that must be introduced, not in a sensual way, not in an exciting manner, but in a respectable manner, in a manner which will make the children also respect the system very well. And then they can learn this. So I believe there are two things that need to be done to do that. Number one, the father must practice. Father must practice this Kayakalpa Yoga every day without fail in front of their children, so that they know that, oh my God, this father is actually setting an example for us to follow. This is non-negotiable, number one. Number two, the father must follow the disciplines, at least some portion of the disciplines of Brahmacharya at home, not look at his wife as a sexual object, but look at her as a spiritual partner. This is a serious problem for many, many men today, because they are, once again, they are also intoxicated in their senses. And therefore, they are living in an illusionary state. And in that illusionary state, they make mistakes. And the mistakes are often intuitively understood by children. And the children will then also follow the same footsteps of the father. Mother is also important. Mother is, in general, in an Indian context, is naturally disciplined. One need not follow any disciplinary methods for her to remain celibate in her life, is my personal feeling. There may be exceptions to this. especially in certain fields in the industry like cinema field, but very rare. You see a normal human being like my mother, my wife, my daughters, my sisters, and they are very naturally disciplined. You don't have to tell them you have to remain celibate, you have to be brahmachari. Hey, boss, we are already brahmacharis, right? We know how to discipline ourselves, we know how to dress ourselves. We are not here to attract any other men in our life. We are only loyal to our own husband. So they're very clear about how they're grown up like that. They are taught like this by their mother. So I don't think there's any change that is required. But the father needs to learn. So once the father learns, he will set an example. Then the teachers in the school can start introducing this in a more systematic and a logical and in a practical manner, in a way that the children will start to appreciate this. It'll happen. It will certainly happen over a period of time. Such a change is imminent and it is going to come.
Thank you. Wonderful, sir. My last question is there any connectivity between the chastity and brahmacharya?
Both are same. Chastity is the same. In English, it is called chastity. In Sanskrit, it is called brahmacharya. Or there is no difference. Okay. Brahmacharya is chastity. Chastity is brahmacharya.
Okay. But after the marriage, they called chastity. And before marriage, in younghood, brahmacharya, we have to maintain chastity. And after the marriage, every husband and wife should maintain chastity and all. We talk about that, no? In generally, Kapunari, we should maintain.
Yeah, so you are talking about disciplining oneself in such a way that the men and the women and the husband and the wife are not looking for relationship outside of their marriage. Yes, that is part of being, maintaining chastity. But the higher form of chastity is celibacy, which is brahmacharya. Okay, but that's true. If you're only separating celibacy from chastity, then chastity is about maintaining discipline and moderation in sexual relationship. So first, number one is you have to respect nature's order, that there is a man for a woman, there is a woman for a man. Okay, we are born for each other. Marriages are made in heaven. So respect your life partner. You need not be married. Today in modern life, you can live with another partner, but have only one partner and live with that person forever. Marriage is necessary for the sake of society. And in a country like India, where such a society, a social rule is the norm of the day, so you have to get married in a country like India. But in foreign countries where you can live together in a relationship and there is no social custom and rule to get married, that's fine. If you want to follow your country's rule, your family rules, and go ahead. If that's the way you wish to live, but don't fall in love with every person on the street, and don't sleep with every other woman on the in every night. So that is not going to help you, because that will only going to corrupt your genetic center, and that will take you away from the spiritual path of self-realization, and that is going to help you, give you a lot of diseases in the body and diseases in the mind. So chastity, from the purest definition of how you wish to define it, which is to maintain discipline between husband and wife, it is common for both gender. It is certainly needed, and it is a platform on which celibacy can be practiced a little later. Whenever the husband and wife decide that, okay, this is enough, we do not wish to indulge in physical activity anymore, physical relationship anymore, and at that time both can then easily follow celibate methods, the brahmacharya methods of living. So certainly that is what is called as vanaprastha. Is brahmacharya is one part of vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is giving everything away and going and living in a forest, but that is not practical today. You can't go and live in a forest, but you get to live as a grahastha inside the family, if you wish to call it grahastha as that. So these definitions have gotten slightly confused over a period of time. In modern days, there is no line between remaining celibate and going and living in a forest. Nobody lives in a forest anymore. So people still live within the families, but how do you remain celibate while living in the family is the lesson that we all require today. And I believe that is where our Vedatriyam, our simplified Kundalini Yoga methods play a big role in our life, because Swamiji taught us this. He said there is no need for you to become a sannyasi to become celibate. So, vanaprastha is not required. You can enjoy whatever you wish to enjoy in moderation and discipline. When you follow moderation, discipline, enjoyment, you will gain control over your senses. And in the process, you can certainly grow to a place or a point where you can practice brahmacharya very easily and remain celibate in your life. But your question is very, very valid. Chastity is a launching platform for us. One must practice it. One must be disciplined in one's married life or in one's partnership life in such a way that you gain control over your senses and not fall prey to sensual intoxication. Beautiful question. Thank you for asking that question.
Wonderful, sir. In depth, you had covered and explained the whole, sir. Now we are very clear and came to know a lot of information about Brahmacharya, this unique concept. I'm very happy and grateful to our Guru to have this wonderful session with you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you very much for inspiring these questions. I hope I did justice to all your questions and answering to the best of my limited knowledge. Appreciate you coming over online. And in these difficult times, stay safe, stay protected, stay within the family, and do not go and expose yourself to the society. And this is a message for all of you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and live long. Practice Kayakalpa Yoga, practice Kundalini meditation, bless yourself, bless the society. May you and the world and the entire family and all of the people associated with you live in good health, long life, enough wealth, peace, prosperity, fame, and wisdom. Be blessed by the divine. And I will see you in the next show.